All right, so here we go, guys. This is some interesting 2024 stuff. Voter tells NBC's Welker if Trump is nominee, quote, "I will vote for Biden even if he was dead, and I'm a Republican." Holy cow. All right, so I have not seen this video yet. I'm watching this real-time reaction. Let's dive into it.
How many of them would think about sitting out on Election Day? Here's what they had to say.
Is there any chance that any of you sit home on Election Day?
There is a chance, yeah.
What will make you come out to vote? What will be the deciding factor?
I mean, honestly, I feel if it's Biden versus Trump, I don't know if there's anything that could make me come out and vote that day, which I know is like really, it's upsetting because it's something that, is a privilege for me to have. I just don't want to have my vote count in a way of both people I don't really support wholeheartedly.
Let me just say, I totally understood that perspective for 2020, right? And even for 2016. It's like, Hillary versus Trump, ugh. And then Biden versus Trump, ugh. Like, I totally get that perspective of like both of these options are hideous, right? But I will say for 2024, I don't understand that instinct as much, especially because when you look at Trump, he says stuff like, "I'm going to suspend the Constitution." And he's got 91 criminal charges against him. And he literally tried to steal the election with a fake elector scheme, for which now he's being criminally charged. So I don't see it as the same now, especially given their records too in office and what Biden has done versus what Trump did. I don't think it's a close call anymore. So on the one hand, I'm sympathetic to this woman, but on the other hand, it's like that's more of like a 2016 or 2020 type commentary where I think it's more reasonable then. Now it's like I look at how extreme the Republicans have gotten, and I'm like, I don't agree anymore. I just don't agree with that. I simply don't agree with that. Defeating the Republicans seems like the primary objective if you care about the country at all, even just something like the peaceful transfer of power. All right, let's continue.
Is there any chance you would stay at home on Election Day?
No. I love American democracy too much that Biden and Trump, if it's a Biden and Trump race, then I would vote for Biden, even if he was dead.
No chance I'd stay home.
I'm a Republican.
No chance I'd stay home. I've never missed an election day. I certainly am not going to start this cycle around.
Any chance you'd stay at home?
No way. My daughter needs to see me going there, pull that lever every time so that she knows to do it when it's
Yes.
Wow. That was bold. He's like, I'll vote for Biden even if he's dead and I'm a Republican. And look, I get that, right? Because, let's just go to the record. Because at the end of the day, the thing that matters the most, and it's not even close, it's the policy, right? So when it comes to Trump, we already discussed his 91 criminal charges, says he wants to suspend the Constitution. He destroyed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which helped regular Americans against big banks that were defrauding them. He killed the regulation and the court cases into the predatory payday loan industry and sided with them because they gave him $1 million for his inauguration. He cut taxes for the rich. 83% of the benefits of that tax bill went to the top 1%. He increased drone strikes 432%. He assassinated a top Iranian commander who was fighting ISIS at the time, nearly sparking World War III. He tried to coup Venezuela. He ripped up the Iran agreement, which, by the way, the Iran agreement was working. He ripped up the Paris Climate Accord. He says he wants to do ideological screening for people coming into the country, and he wants to ban socialists and communists. He wants to expand the Muslim ban. He said repeatedly now he wants war with Mexico to go after the drug cartels and to designate them as terrorists. His economic record, he outsourced 200,000 jobs. Now, when you compare that to Biden, I think it's night and day. I don't even think it's close. I mean, with Biden, there's net onshoring of 800,000 manufacturing jobs. The NLRB rule, which raised overtime pay for millions of people. It used to be $33,000 and under, $33,000. It would be the overtime pay line. Now it's $55,000. That's a big difference. A lot of people getting a pay raise from that. There's that NLRB rule to automatically recognize unions if a boss tries to union bust. That's the biggest win for organized labor, certainly in my lifetime. You have the various student loan debt reduction moves, and there was just another one that came out recently, an extra $9 billion in student loan debt reduction. He keeps doing waves of student loan debt reduction, and he's even fighting the Supreme Court. The Higher Education Act he's now invoked to do student loan debt reduction after the court struck it down the first time. Pulled out of Afghanistan. Massively reduced the drone war, over 90%. The Democrats overturned the Supreme Court decision that stopped the EPA from regulating carbon emissions. They said, the hell you are going to stop that. They defined carbon emissions as a pollutant and allowed the EPA to start regulating it again. That saves us for the climate change fight. He did project labor agreements for 200,000 construction workers. That raises their pay. $15 minimum wage for 400,000 federal contractors and employees. Gun reform like the red flag laws. There was a George Floyd executive order which created a registry of abusive cops. You have the PACT Act for healthcare for veterans who were exposed to toxic burn pits. And let's not forget, every Republican voted against the PACT Act the first time around. They needed Jon Stewart to come in and name and shame them in order to fall in line to vote for it. In the IRA, we have a 15% corporate minimum tax rate. It used to be a lot of these big corporations would get away with paying nothing in taxes or get a net subsidy. Now they have a 15% minimum tax rate. That's huge. There's a 1% tax on stock buybacks. They're cracking down on wealthy tax cheats, people who make over $400,000 a year. The IRS is now going after them. Instead of just targeting poor and working class people, now they're going after the wealthy too. They beefed up the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, expanded Obamacare, $64 billion. Now, in this, he fell short, didn't do public option, didn't do Medicare for all. He absolutely should have gone further. But expanding Obamacare, $64 billion, is better than when Trump tried to get rid of Obamacare, right? Tried to get fewer people to have health care. It took John McCain to come in and save the day. Imagine depending on John McCain to save the day. What a disastrous situation. And look, the list goes, I could keep going here. Descheduling weed, it was Schedule 1, now it's Schedule 3. There's a bunch of stuff in the IRA capping Medicare price negotiations at $2,000 out of pocket. Again, that's nowhere near far enough. We need lower prescription drug prices across the board. But this move does save people $288 billion. So you guys have heard my rants before, but I'm just laying this out for you from a policy perspective. And even if you include the things that I think are negative that Biden did, I don't think it's a close analysis. I don't think it's remotely close. So with Biden, there was no Iran agreement. We're still cucked to Saudi Arabia, still sanctioning Afghanistan. He's very conservative on the border. No public option, no $15 minimum wage. The original Build Back Better didn't get through. Like, there's a list of things that I'm like, that's not good. But in its totality, Trump versus Biden, I got to say, this old Republican is based. When he says, I'd vote for Joe Biden's dusty, rotting carcass over Donald Trump, he's spitting. Let him cook. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.